Sony වසර 3ක වගකීම සමග සිංග වෙතින්ම පමණයි.
As we explained at the last meeting, we do not see any fundamental reason why the currency should be under pressure at this point. Downward pressure on the currency is to be expected, but not as much as we have seen. But the good sign is that in the last few days that pressure has begun to abate, and the Senior Deputy Governor just told me that today things seem to be looking pretty stable so far. So why we say that the pressure is not well aligned to the underlying fundamentals is because if you look at the underlying fundamentals, our reserves are at historically very high levels. The real effective exchange rate index is at 100. So we don't see any reason why there should be pressure on the currency.
The governor revealed that investigations are underway as to why extra pressure came through in the foreign exchange market in the last 10 to 14 days.
We will study some of the transactions, transaction by transaction, to see what has happened, to look at the behavior of market participants. We now have a flexible exchange rate management system which is very transparent, and for that system to work well, the market participants must also behave well. They need to be disciplined and also not try to manipulate the market. So we will be very alert to see whether there is any manipulation that takes place of the market, and if we do observe any manipulation, we will take very stern action, because there has to be a quid pro quo. If we are to open up the market and try to have a market-oriented approach, then the market participants have to also behave well.
The Sri Lankan rupee closed steady against the US dollar today near the historic low 157.85 cents and 158.10 cents against the US dollar in the spot market, unchanged from the previous close. Dealers said there was uncertainty in the market, with the monetary authority intervening to defend the currency and central bank governor insisting that forex dealers would be probed.
Actually, the impact of depreciation on the economy, I think that it has positive and negative impacts. On the fiscal side, there is a positive impact given the current structure of receipts and payments. Also, it has a positive impact on the balance of payments in the sense that it incentivizes exports and discourages import. But where there is a challenge when the currency depreciates is the fact that it has an impact on the cost of living, on inflation. And one has to take particular cognizance of this because we have a very high import component in our basic consumption. We need to build up our exports if we are to get out of the very challenging debt dynamics that confront the country. So we need to have a competitive exchange rate. And the exchange rate will go up and down. It's possible that the political uncertainty also played its part.
How much of dollars have you expended thus far in defending the currency?
$136.65 million US dollars. In these days, we were also able to purchase 30 million. So in net term, it's about 100 million.
අවස්ථා කීපයකදීම ප්‍රකාශ කර සිටියා රටේ ආර්ථික ස්ථාවරත්වය ඇතිවීමට නම් දේශපාලන ස්ථාවරත්වයක් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඇති යුතුයි කියලා. ඔබ හිතන්නේ මේ වෙනකොට ඒ ස්ථාවරත්වය ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවද?
That's a good question. For me, the ultimate test is whether the government can continue to function effective. If you say that the instability started with the local government election outcome, the Active Liability Management Act was passed. The Indian Revenue Act was enacted in November, I think, but anyway, it was introduced and launched. Then on our side, we have a major priority is the amendments to the Monetary Law Act to create the conditions for a flexible inflation targeting regime, which also gives a legal and accountability framework which will provide greater independence to the central bank. So the concept paper setting out those amendments was approved by cabinet. Most of all, the pricing formula, politically extremely difficult. There are some difficult things that the government is getting done. Now, our politics is always very untidy, as you know, and it gets more untidy and less untidy as we go along, but it is generally untidy. The important thing is that the government continues to function effectively and taking decisions which are necessary to stabilize the economy on the one hand and to strengthen the growth framework on the other.